Ladies and germs and gentlemen, Tucker, say hello.
Hello.
You're not gonna believe it. There's Tango 6, Roger Alpha, Zero Dark 30, Companion. It's the last night of Tucker's summer break. He's got school on Friday, so this is the last summer night he's got. Of course, we've got to record some Gen Z. We really were hoping we'd have it done before he went back to school. But I know we're not going to do a How to Survive 2 and make this our whole night. Hopefully this weekend we can keep going. One way or another, it's going to get done eventually. It's sort of insane to think that we started this Let's Play. Oh my God. We started this Let's Play in January of 23.
How long ago was that?
That's 7 months ago. That's over 7 months ago.
That's a whole lot of procrastination.
Part of it's also we've done other things. We've done Tucker's Corners. Just been a busy summer, and this last long weekend we had together, Thursday through Monday, the Quinster stayed. So we were doing other things, and that's been the story since January, is doing other things. And yeah, procrastination, I'm not gonna lie. But we're here, and we're not quitting, and we're going to eventually get this thing done at some point in the not too distant future. And part of that is right now. We're gonna do some recordings. And we're going to, I would like to get caught up on like side missions. We really need command points. And I played this on my own. I was telling Tucker, I tried to play this on my own so that we could make some progress like we did Astroneer, because we got Astroneer done in like twice the time. My hope was I could get a big base going and we could start to just grind our asses off from that base, get some XP, get some command points going, do all the things we need to do. I'll admit to you, I got bored with less than an hour. It was painful. I uncovered a new base. I watched some YouTube tutorials, barely was able to like stick around for them. Figured out that we get command points by going out and taking on these Phoenix bases, and they're supposed to randomly spawn. I went and tried to take 2 bases, never got a command point, and just said screw it, and haven't played since. Now, Tucker, I discussed this with you, and what did you feel was missing? Like, what is it about this game when playing alone that makes it not work?
I don't know. It's kind of like Redfall, but we know Redfall is bad. But it has the same thing. Like a couple hours in, when you first get in, you notice that like something feels missing or off. And you get like a lesser feeling of that with Generation Zero, because Generation Zero has a lot more pros than Redfall did. But it still feels like there's some emptiness or something missing when you play.
It's peculiar. It's peculiar in that I actually played Redfall by myself quite a bit. Not in the second map. The second map I was already over the game, and we played that through together and we were done. But Redfall's also a much smaller game, to be fair. But on that first map when the game first came out, I put like that whole week before you came back the next weekend, I played freaking Redfall. And I was doing all the different, like, what do they call those grave locks? The blue things?
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, I found every grave lock on the first map, and I was watching movies on Netflix, and I was actually like, I'll admit, even though it's embarrassing to admit it, I was enjoying the mindless grind of Redfall. I mean, I like looter shooters. Borderlands is one of my favorite series, so it makes sense. That first map, even though the gameplay wasn't very good, I still really liked the world on Redfall. And I was enjoying having like 3 separate activities, which is sometimes I would like grind for XP and do nests. Sometimes I would go for gear and grind chests. And then if I was like really wanted to change the pace, there was Gravelock. So it was kind of a nice thing, and the map isn't too big. And yet when I get into Gen Z, a lot of the time is spent just running. That's one of the things about this game, despite the fact that I really do like appreciate Gen Z. I think we both do. We both think it's a really neat game, and they've clearly done a lot to it. It can be more boring than Redfall, and I don't want to say that, but it can be. I don't completely know why. Why do you think it is, Tucker?
Maybe because we're just not used to this kind of shooter, maybe?
Not used to this kind of shooter? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
I've played a
with-
lot of Fallout, and this reminds me the most of Fallout, especially with how they've updated it. There's heavy inspiration from Fallout 4 in this, especially how they've gone through and like put the base building and stuff. I just think that the world tends to be empty, you know, and we tend to do a lot of like the same stuff. Even though this game gets like a freaking, I'd call it a 10 out of 10 on sound design. I love the sound design on this game. I think fighting giant robots with Tucker is super fun. I love the potential, the idea of what you could...
Jesus.
That thing looks cool. I think this is how we get the command points. We have to kill this damn thing. Like, not to... It's cool that they keep updating it. I don't mean the potential of what they could build here. I think it's an old man thing. Like, any game... I used to love survival games. And now Tucker has finally gotten to the age where he's into survival games, like the Survivalists and stuff. I can't commit to them at all. I'm like, okay, you know, I might have 30, 40, 50 if I'm lucky years left. It's very difficult for me at this stage of my life to say, yeah, I'm going to dedicate the next 6 months to this survival game. I'm going to do all the things like Conan Exiles. I actually had to jump in for a Game Pass thing this week. And I'm like, God, this game has got so much going on. It's so cool. You could do so damn much in this game. And yet I'm never going to play it because I know I'm never going to be able to really do it like that. So what I found myself doing like 2 days ago, Tucker, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to find a new game. And I sat down, I started trying to learn Railway Empires. And even though I'm still probably going to try to learn it, before the night was through, I was back on freaking Atomic Crops. It's like how grandma watches the same movie like over and over and over again. It's the same like thing playing out in my life. I think as we get older, we just keep going back to what's comfortable and familiar. And there's so much things that end up happening in your life, Tucker, as you get older, as you become an adult, like bills and problems and keeping up with the house, and keeping up with family, everything, just everything that is being an adult. And you come down to the end of the day, you know, you're finally flat or you're finally on your butt cheeks and you're like, okay, I just want to turn my brain off and relax and wind down. And so the only way to do that is increasingly simple games, simple games. I think that's why Borderlands 1, for God's sake, still scratches that itch of just like, I just want to sit down and shoot crawler max a few times. But I do respect and appreciate your ability, Tucker, to keep engaging new experiences. Like right now, Tucker's playing what? You're playing Project Zomboid. You've beat that My Hero Academia game, what, 3 or 4 times now?
I've done the hero campaign and I just beat the villain campaign. So all I have to do is max out all the characters on the mission mode, which will take a while. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. I've gotten silver on one and I've gotten bronze on another.
It's such a tricky thing because we keep asking games to make more and more content, and we expect it. And yet, at the same time, it's like there's often like Grand Theft Autos. There's no way I'm playing GTA Online. I'm not pouring my life into what is just a treadmill to me. Yet it's it's probably the greatest selling game now of all time. Like it's in the top 10 easy. It's been on the top 10 of the yearly charts since it came out. And I played GTA Online with Tucker, and I know he loves it. And he was playing with his buddy, and I could tell their age group loves it. And at one time, GTA was special, and to me, it's just like, why? Where is this going? To be fair, I understand there's people my age that love it too, but I think a game that I'm going to sit down and make myself be is Dishonored. I can tell that game's going to be cool. I can tell there's a lot of neat stuff going on. So I think like a couple hours every night, I'm going to sit down and figure out a way to get through that one. There's so many good games though, and it's like that graph you see on, if this game is leading me the wrong goddamn direction again. You see on PC Master Race where it's like my age and then like time I have to play games and then games I own, and the graph of games I own goes way up. The time to play games goes way down. Games I've actually played basically goes down to 0. And that's kind of like how we're gonna get the Wonderlands capstone out in the next 2 months. When did we do that? Let's Play, Tucker? Last year?
I think so.
Yeah. And that's finally gonna come out. I've almost got the script done. That's just how slow stuff is now. With everything else, it's too bad. But slow and steady, and no quitters, and we're gonna get there. I'm still like happy and proud that we beat How to Survive 2, because that game was just one hell of a grind. Like, was it even worth it, Tucker? Was that a good game? Was that worth all the time we put into it?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel like. Sometimes if a game is too bad, sometimes it's just best to leave it. Like how we left Fortnite after season 10.
Fortnite was never bad though. It's just the same old treadmill.
Right.
You know, and that's like right now we quit playing again because we're done with our pass and we're not sweaty. We're not going into like esports tournament mode. I don't want to, and I was starting to feel a little bit sick to my stomach because I don't like being set on one game. And Atomic Crops, I know it's bad because I still play it, but I only go back to it in bursts. Like a lot of these familiar games, and I'm trying to add more games to my rotation of like, I understand this game, I can play it, I've learned it. It's just that patience to actually learn new games. How are you able to do it, Tucker? How do you stay patient with the learning process?
I'm the complete opposite of you. Instead of going to a game and 100%ing it, I go to a game and then quit while I'm ahead.
Quit while you're ahead. When I was your age, on my OG Xbox, definitely the 360, I used to do tutorials like you did. It was like no big deal to me at all. I would it's the first thing I would do. Run the tutorial, start the campaign, and then I would do like 2 campaign runs. And I just want to know what happens. Did something go wrong with me, or is it just part of getting older that my patience for that is just like gone? I'm through 1 of 5 tutorials on Railway Empire, and I can tell it's like a game I would super enjoy. You know, it's got like resource management. You got to build, and you get to like trains and infrastructure and shit.
you get to trains.
Yeah, there's trains in it. It's like, yeah, let's do that. It'll be cool. Like you're building a train between Syracuse and San Francisco. And Syracuse makes beef, and San Francisco makes grain, and you got to like trade them and build a really efficient railway, and then you run a company and blah blah blah. And it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And for 3 days straight, I started tutorial 2, and then put on a movie and just said, fuck it.
You know what? I'm just watching the movie.
Watch some great flicks. Watch Cocaine Bear. It wasn't really great, but it was funny. You'd probably like it, Tucker. And watched, you know, Hacksaw Ridge about Desmond.
Based off of a true story.
Hacksaw Ridge is actually a true story. Cocaine Bear.
Oh, we talk about.
Right, they claim it's based on a true story, but the only part of it that's true is that some guy jumped out of a plane, died, and a lot of the cocaine went missing, and they don't know where it went. So this...
And they theorize a bear.
Yeah, they speculate that a bear took it and started snorting it and started hunting people while high on cocaine.
How long is the movie?
It's pretty short. It's really gory. I would actually even like if it was more gory, because it takes a while to like ramp up the goriness. But then like it can't really figure out what it wants to be. It's kind of a buddy comedy and like a rom-com, and then it's a horror story, and it does this. The only thing I really appreciate about it is somehow it makes you be terrified of the bear, but also feel bad for the bear. And I'm not even totally sure how it did it, but basically, to spoil it a bit, the bear has cubs.
Doesn't he overdose on the cocaine or something?
And it's a she. And it's funny, like there's parts of it that are stupid funny. It just takes a while to get gory, and then it ramps up to 100, and that's when it's like really fun. But then after that, there's one scene in particular that I don't want to spoil because it's a really good scene, in which it's finally like, okay, this is Cocaine Bear, and this is about a bear going completely lunatic and mauling people. And the bear manages to like take down all the first responders in one chaotic run. and then it just like goes back down to like 0. And there's one part of it that's really
Oh shoot, we gotta go.
is
We gotta
it
look
gonna
at the
pop?
outpost.
Why aren't we
Yeah,
getting
it's gonna
command
pop.
points? We're blowing these things up. There's one part where they kill a character off that it feels like really didn't deserve to be killed off, and they don't do it in an honorable way at all. And it's the only part of the movie that left me scratching my head. Like, I don't feel like they handled that very well. They clearly...
Why'd they kill?
I'll just spoil it. There's a cop, and they kill a cop, and he's like a good guy, and he loves his dog, and he just got a new dog, and he like really loves dogs, and he's in love with this new dog, and they just kill him off, and they leave him there. They don't even go back for him. It's like, you can't just kill an officer of the law, make us enjoy him as a character, and then just abandon him. Like, you can't just kill cops in general like that, obviously, but then they just kind of do it in a really disrespectful way, because they wrap up everything. Because it's meant to be kind of lighthearted in the end. And they wrap up all these other stories. We'll go for this next side quest. And yet his story, they sort of wrap it up because the dog finds a new owner. But they just leave him for dead. He's just totally forgotten about.
Wait, does Cocaine Bear kill him, or?
Okay, we're going to spoil like a big chunk of the story, but... So the guy who jumped out of the plane like an idiot and dies was handling cocaine for like this drug empire, okay? And there's two guys. One is a white guy, one's a black guy, and they're like best friends. And the white guy's dad is the head of the drug empire. And his dad sends them, but the son is all depressed because he just lost his wife and stuff. So he's kind of useless. So the dad sends his buddy, the black guy, to go look for the cocaine and try to get his son back to like the world of the living and to get out of his depression. And they, through a crazy series of like misadventures and kind of comedy, they end up at a gazebo where there's a cop. And the cop is got a hunch basically that he's chasing that this cocaine's still out there, and he's gonna find it so he can, you know, get it off the streets. So they end up having this like pretty funny showdown, and the bear shows up, and the cop uses the cocaine to get the bear away from him. And then while he helps them out by getting the bear to go away, the dad ends up being in the woods hiding with a sniper rifle and shoots the cop. And not only that, his partner, who he had watch his new dog, is actually a dirty cop and is taking a bribe and helps the drug kingpin kill the cop. And it's just like, there's so much blood and gore in it that's fine. Like, watching the bear terrorize people is pretty fun and funny. And then they kill this cop, and it's like, that just felt unnecessary. He didn't need to like die, because they make you like him too much. Is he just like an honest cop, and he loves this new dog he's got, and the dog's like super cute, and they just freaking kill him. But in one way it works, because you couldn't have him die to the bear, because in the end they make you like the bear. I guess it worked in the sense that, yeah, it makes you hate the dad more, and the dad is like the main villain. So I don't know, it just still felt unnecessary. I just kind of wish he was rescued, because everybody gets a happy ending in that story.
Except the cop.
Except the cop.
What happens to the dad? Does he get killed or something?
Yeah, the dad gets ate by the bear in like a really, really gruesome way. But he's the only real villain, because all he cares about is the drugs. So he just cares about getting the drugs and getting the money. And he's willing to sacrifice like his own son for it, and the fact that he's a grandpa for it, and a whole bunch of stuff. At one point, I thought that they were going to go super gory, and like the first people that are terrorized by the cocaine bear, I thought they were going to have this guy get scalped and be walking around with just his like brain out. But it turns out to be a bandana, and I was super disappointed. You can technically live with your, in fact, they do this when you have brain surgery. You don't need your skull up there to live. It's not
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually keep you awake during brain surgery, and you could You'd be really kind of out of it and really loopy and weird, but you can totally go around without your skull.
So they like numb the pain until they like get all the stuff cut open until they see your brain, and then they wake you back up.
Well, no, they keep you awake during the whole thing to make sure they're not cutting what they don't need to cut. That you're supposed to tell them, like, hey, are you going blind? Hey, can you still smell? And they can touch parts of your brain, make you go blind, make you quit smelling. It's their way of knowing if anything goes wrong. And they don't numb your brain. You can't actually feel your brain.
Right, I know. I was just talking about like the top of your head. Like, don't they have to cut
well,
that
yeah,
out?
they numb that, and then they take they actually take a saw. First, they take a scalpel and cut the skin back, and then they take a saw and they cut through the bone.
How do they replace the bone?
They put it back in place, and then they fix it because it will heal. It'll naturally heal itself, but you have to be really careful afterwards, of course.
That way your skull grows back properly.
Well, that, and you'd be really susceptible to like brain trauma,
Right.
If someone hits you after you've had brain surgery, you're looking at probably a pretty traumatic injury. All right, we're heading to this next waypoint. That's a good first episode.